everyone, and welcome to another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Rhea. I am your host, and I'm very pleased to welcome back my co-host, Lee Harris from ATPI Travel. How you doing?
Yeah, really good. We're just a week away from Flims, so looking forward to a little bit of sunshine next week in Fort Lauderdale, but it's good this week. Yeah, can't complain.
Great. Yeah, I mean, it's Fort Lauderdale. This season is just one show after the other. It just doesn't seem to end.
I know, it's busy at the moment, isn't it? Really busy. So plenty of travelling, which you can't really complain about, I've got to say.
No, you live a tough life, Lee.
But it's hard.
Yeah. It's good for some of us.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so you're going to be there, and actually our host of Yachting USA is going to be there, Rick Thomas, and then as well we have one half of the co-host team from Yachting Canada, Adam Langley, is also going to be at Fort Lauderdale. So the three of you are going to be representing.
It's interesting because at Monaco, it was myself and all of the girls from Yachting International Radio, which was lovely. And then, Flibs, it's a complete turnaround. It's myself and the men. Yeah, so it's good. So, myself and Rick Thomas have been in contact. So we're going to be hanging out and taking in a couple of events together. So, looking forward to it.
Yes, I've heard from Adam's wife, who is his co-host of Yachting Canada, and she's not sure what y'all are going to get up to down there.
What happens on tour stays on tour.
Yes, I don't condone it.
No.
I'm just saying that honestly, I don't really care, but I just have to say that for the viewers. Whatever it is, I don't condone it. Gotta act like you care sometimes, right?
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, well, there it is. There it is. I've done my obligatory caring for today.
You have.
Yeah. Heading right into the travel news, a Boeing strike. It wouldn't be the same without starting off with a strike.
Exactly right, yeah. Workers involved in a lengthy strike at Boeing are to vote on a fresh offer from the company as it bids to restart stalled aircraft production. The proposal to be voted on by more than 33,000 US West Coast machinists who walked out on September the 13th includes a 35% pay hike over 4 years and a one-time bonus of $7,000. Now, the 5-week stoppage has halted production of the best-selling Boeing 737 MAX and the wide-body 767 and 777 models, prompting concern from airlines such as Ryanair over a constraint on planned capacity growth. Now, members of the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers will vote on whether to accept the proposal on Wednesday. That's tomorrow, October the 23rd. Now, although not an airline or airport workers strike, the strike action by Boeing has had an impact on air travel already. That's with airlines such as BA having to alter their winter schedules due to the continued delay of aircraft into their respective fleets. Now, if tomorrow they do not manage to agree terms, you can imagine more airlines' schedules being disrupted due to the strike action.
What do I always say?
Pay people. Exactly right. It's a big jump, 35%. They clearly do feel like they are being seriously undervalued.
When you take a look at the cost of living and the amount of taxes that we get piled on top of us on a constant basis, the amount of money you're living off of nowadays is worth 10 years ago half, really,
exactly right.
When you think about it. We talk about inflation, but we're not calculating in the extra taxes that the governments keep adding on. So, yeah, it's not the same.
Yeah, no, it's tough. It's tough for a lot of people out there at the moment.
Moving on to the UK government. They've got some news about air traffic stuff.
Yeah, they have, so the government have plans to cut flight delays and emissions by modernising how the UK's airspace is used, and it could help millions of passengers every year. Now, the Department for Transport, the DfT, is starting a consultation on a proposal to establish a UK airspace design service, which would consist of aviation experts, working with airports to improve highways in the sky flown by aircraft. Now, the new body would start by reviewing London's airspace, which is the busiest in the UK. Now, the consultation will run until December the 17th this year. Now, much of how the UK's airspace is used dates back to the 1950s, when there were fewer flights and aircraft navigated using ground-based beacons. Now, the DfT believes that enabling aircraft to use modern navigation technologies will boost efficiency. That includes a reduction in the need to enter holding patterns before receiving permission to land at busy airports. Airspace above the capital is the busiest and most congested in the UK, and delays in London often have a knock-on effect for travel across the rest of the UK. EasyJet just last month said inefficient use of airspace contributes to increases in fuel consumption, carbon emissions, and flight times. The carrier described the problem as a universal issue across the whole of Europe, but said that the greater inefficiencies for its operations are solely in the UK. Now, among the impacts of aircraft being required to climb in steps after takeoff, complex routing, and delayed descents to manage the workload of air traffic control staff. EasyJet published the results of an AI-based study that found airspace inefficiency increased its CO2 emissions in the year to the end of July by 10.6%.
That's a fair amount. That kind of blows my mind. They haven't taken a look at any of it since before the internet existed, since 20 years before I was born, and I ain't no spring chicken.
It's mad, isn't it? 1950, you're talking over 70 years, and they've not updated anything with all of the new technology that's in place, air traffic control, and all of the technology that they've and the advancements they've made there, and they've not looked at this at all. Should make a massive difference once they've actually done the consultation, looked at it, and put proposals in place.
God, they're sending tourists to space at this stage. Like,
it's mad, isn't it? I didn't even, you know what? It actually really interested me because I didn't know that. I didn't know that they hadn't updated any of this stuff for over 70 years. Yeah, it's crazy.
Is that all government controlled?
Yeah.
Okay, that shouldn't come as a shocker. Moving on. China has some news.
Yeah, so as of last Tuesday, October 15th, China has expanded its 15-day visa-free entry policy to citizens of 4 more European countries, Portugal, Greece, Cyprus, and Slovenia. This policy, which runs until December the 31st next year, 2025, allows travellers from these countries holding ordinary passports to enter China for tourism, business, or family visits without needing a visa. That's provided their stay is no longer than 15 days. Previously, China granted 15-day visa-free entry to 11 European countries in 2 batches, with Poland being added in July this year alongside Australia and New Zealand. Now, with the addition of Portugal, Greece, Cyprus, and Slovenia, the number of European countries eligible for China's 15-day visa-free policy has now reached 16. I won't read them all out, but you can find it online, or I can give you the information if anybody does need it. Also, on top of that, Norway and Denmark are expected to expand the list to 18 countries by the end of this year.
Frontier Airlines, they've got news.
They have as well, yeah. An overwhelming majority of Frontier Airlines pilots have voted in favour of pursuing collective action if necessary. While the vote does not mean a strike will be announced, it indicates that pilots' willingness to apply additional pressure as their contract is being renegotiated. It has been revealed that 99% of the Frontier pilots voted in favour of authorising a strike if necessary, with 97% of pilots in the union participating in the vote. Now, the vote does not mean a strike is forthcoming, but does signal that the pilots in question have authorised union leadership to call a strike when it is lawful to do so. The strike authorisation vote follows a similar move by the airline's flight attendants last month. Although it has been stressed that the strike is not currently forthcoming yet, it does appear the union is putting in place the procedures to formalise strike action in the coming weeks if the airline's representatives are not prepared to engage in meaningful talks. I would say for anyone due to travel with Frontier over the next couple of months, this is a situation to keep a close eye on because it does seem they are putting in place the building blocks to call strike action.
And there's news from New Zealand Airport.
Yeah, a rather interesting update out of New Zealand this week saw Dunedin Airport, a relatively small airport serving the South Island of New Zealand, capturing global attention. That's when the facility installed new signage near its drop-off area, which imposes a new and rather controversial time limit on pre-departure hugs. The sign, which has spawned online debate from across the globe, has imposed a 3-minute time limit on hugs in the drop-off zone, encouraging passengers looking for a fonder farewell to use the adjacent parking lots. This new 3-minute hug limit has exploded across the internet, with commenters on multiple different platforms arguing that time limits should certainly not be set on hugs. However, the airport's officials have stood by the new policy, arguing that those in need of extra time for a farewell are free to use the adjacent parking lots. What's the world coming to? It's crazy, and we're putting time.
That brings a whole new meaning to the word wanker for you Brits. Do they not have anything better to do? Oh, we're going to sit here. Oh, they're hugging.
Yeah. I want to know who.
Oh, it's reaching 3 minutes. It's 3 minutes. What are they going to do? If somebody hugs over 3 minutes, they're going to start giving them a fine.
No, it's crazy, isn't it? I don't know who. I mean, can employ people just to stand there with a time at a time? a stopwatch just to check and see if it does go over the 3 minutes. I don't know if it's making that much of a difference, whether it be 3 minutes or a hug or 5 minutes or a hug. It's slightly crazy that we're now having to put time limits on those.
I don't even have the words. You know me, I'm rarely lost for words, but this must be some absolutely lonely, cranky, desperate old man that hasn't been loved in a long time that has made that kind of decision.
It's got to be, isn't it? Yeah, some single dude who's clearly not getting hugs himself.
I was going to go even further.
I'm sure you were.
Yeah, I stopped myself.
Well done.
I know, it's not Monday, so I do have a bit of self-control.
This is pre-watershed as well, so you have to be careful.
Oh, dear. I could get myself into so much trouble if I was allowed free reign.
I'm sure you could.
I could. And I want to remind everybody out there that if you have any questions, please do feel free to drop Lee a line. All of his information is below this interview when it airs. Lee, I want to say thank you once again for being late.
Always a pleasure. At least I've got the right day. So this is progress.
That's a start. We'll keep working on you. To be honest, it's only 5 years in, right?
Do you know what it is? Is it 5 years? I'm still here, though. I'm still here. You've not kicked me to the curb.
So that's a reason to celebrate. So what you're saying is that...
Yeah.
Oh, all right then. Thank you. Thank you for blessing us with your weekly presence, Lee.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to let you go because I've got better things to do with my Tuesday.
Really? How rude.
I have to say to everybody out there watching and those listening, thank you again for tuning in on behalf of myself, Rhea Rao from Yachting International Radio, and Lee Harris from ATPI Travel. And we'll see you again next week.